Hey there, everybody. Alan back from Think Twice MTG. I am here with another MTGO video. This time, I'm going to be taking what I consider to be the, spiritual successor to a deck that is near and dear to my heart, Grixis Death Shadow, through a modern league. This deck is based around a different shadow card. This is based around Moonshadow card that came out in Northern Eclipse. 1 mana 7/7. It enters with 6 -1/-1 counters on it, and whenever one or more permanent cards are put into your graveyard, it loses one of those counters, and so it grows bigger. So it starts out as a 1/1, can become a 7/7. In order to enable it, you start with a couple of kind of obvious inclusions. You start with Street Wraith and Mishra's Bauble, plus you have fetch lands and some surveils, and that will enable you to very quickly and cheaply, namely freely, put a bunch of permanents into your yard, which will then grow the Moonshadow. You can easily attack with this as a 4/4 on turn 2, pretty much no problem. When you start playing some of those cards, you've got fetch lands, I've got 9 of them, Mishra's Bauble and Street Wraith. You're already putting a lot of types into your yard just without a cost, so Netherglyph becomes my secondary 1 mana threat as a main inclusion. And then I went to Psychic Frog as kind of the tertiary threat here. With its discard ability, you can also enable the Moonshadow and the Netherglyph, but just a good kind of grindy card that if these 1 mana threats aren't good enough to get there, maybe Psychic Frog is the thing you need to kind of push through. A couple of other threats mixed in here. 1 Detective's Phoenix has some synergy because you're already playing Street Wraith, which is kind of necessary for Detective's Phoenix in order to consistently actually collect Evidence 6 without having to just eat away your whole graveyard, because it's 5 on its own. So, Street Wraith plus any of your other non-Mishra's Bauble spells will do the trick. It also is an enchantment to give you 1 more type potential for Netherglyph. So Netherglyph's max is 6 power in this deck, although since it's only 1, you won't often hit it, but 4 or 5 on a Netherglyph is pretty reasonable. I've got 1 Graveyard Trespasser, a little bit of life gain, a little bit of graveyard hate in the main deck, and 1 Cecil Dark Knight. Cecil is a card I like, but it's kind of tricky. It's definitely not a great draw late in the game, and so I think playing a lower number of it is probably completely fine. If you can flip Cecil, those games feel amazing. And so, it can also just be like a threat to block, and, it blocks a territorial Kavu and trades no matter what, and stuff like that. Otherwise, we got some card advantage and expressive iteration, and then your interaction suite is 2 Fatal Push, 2 Unholy Heat, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Cling to Dust, once again, more life gain, more graveyard hate, more card draw, and 2 Stubborn Denial. You got 19 fetches, even split between blue and red sources, and then you're a little bit more on black. So there you go. Your sideboard has kind of just your do-it-all card. You got 3 Consign to Memory. You've got a 3rd Stubborn Denial to bring in against kind of those spell-based decks. Hurkyl's Recall, 2 Meltdown as your artifact hate package. You've got 1 more Trespasser and 1 more Spellbomb as your graveyard hate. You can also kind of include in that Dreams of Steel and Oil. I've been playing some Dreams of Steel and Oil lately and actually liking it. I feel like there's a lot of decks that either have something like Flage, that this Dreams of Steel and Oil can hit it in either spot and it exiles it, so absolutely fantastic there. But also, decks like Living End or Neoform rely on creatures to pull off their combos, and this gives you a little bit more ways to fight against those combos. Plus 2 Sheoldred's Edict. Edict is especially important over any other removal spell, Terminate, Molten Collapse, whatever, in this spot, because it can hit a Scion of Draco when they have Leyline of the Guild packed out, and so Sheoldred's Edict is kind of the champion in that spot right now. But I'm gonna take this deck through a league, see how we do, shine some light on this here new Moonshadow card. All right, on the draw, match 1. Street Wraith, Unholy Heat, Psychic Frog, 4 lands. So we have an Unholy Heat. If our opponent's on like a creature-based deck, we can just kill it. If they're on anything else besides some sort of creature-based deck, I do not like that prospect. Plus 4 lands, the Street Wraith. Yes, you can tell yourself it could be anything, but also it could be anything versus something else. So I think I'm going to send this hand back. I think this is a better hand. We'll just put the Phoenix on the bottom and call it done here. Meticulous Archive could be, plus Lurin Reveal generally is going to make me assume that we are up against like blue-white control maybe. So since we got the Stubborn Denial in hand, we're gonna grab Watery Grave, send out our Nethergoyf. We'll see what's going on. The lack of drawing a second land kind of hurts. Okay. Okay, second Luring revealed. Alright, so Subtlety, 3 lands. Alright. Unfortunately, like we said, no second land. Otherwise, we could play the Cecil. Well, Stock Up is a very good draw for our opponent there. Oh, the lack of a second land is really killing us here. I mean, I could have thought seized again, but like I have to get the opportunity to try to get some pressure in, so Stock Up into Stock Up. Okay, that was a land they did not have before. Suppression Ray. I think we're still not convinced that it's anything other than just blue-white control. Still don't have a second land. We're going to get rid of this Teferi. So... Oops, I think they have a prismatic ending as well. There are 17 other lands on our deck. Let's try to find one. Oh, man. Well. Seriously, lack of lands is, really putting a damper on things. Okay. Well, we are going to be at a low life total, that's for sure. If we play the frog, then it is very likely that simply all that happens is we get hit by the Sink into Stupor. So let's see if we can draw a 1-drop. We did not. We're just going to go get our mountain. see if we can kill this Solitude. They should probably just let it go and not use the, they shocked. Man, our opponent has, every time we've gotten to the point where, like, okay, they don't have much. They draw something good. Well, do we cast the frog? So no matter what, I try to go fetch. If I cast the frog, I can't cast the Stubborn Denial. They don't have the Sink into Stupor up yet, so I think we will. Just going to grab our Swamp because we're at a very low life total. Just in case maybe we want to do something with the discard ability. I doubt it. I probably will just play this Blood Crypt on the next turn, even if they do something like... Okay, that's an Narset. Okay. I'm grabbing the Street Wraith simply because I'm just going to be we are at 1 life. Narset into Narset. Jeez. Another Solitude. Yep. You got it. So I have to discard 2 cards here so that I don't die to the Solitude. There's the other one we knew about. So if they hit me with Days Undoing, they cast Stock Up instead. Are they just hoping to find a land and then do it? They didn't do it. Interesting. I can't use the fetch. Now I can. So I have to hit a creature. That's a Solitude. But I'm going to have to block anyway. I don't have any creatures. Yep. There we go. Okay. Well, getting stuck on 1 land for like 4 turns was what we call poor. Like this, we can take out both pushes for sure. I think I just want more threats, so we can bring in the Trespasser. We can definitely take out at least 2 Unholy Heats. Could bring in an Edict. I also brought in a Trespasser. They don't do it really anything with their graveyard. I could put in like some amount of consigns. Do I instead want like a Dreams of Steel and Oil? Just to be able to pick a Planeswalker out of their hand, maybe? I'm going to leave all my threats in. I took out the Fatal Pushes. I'm fine with a couple of Unholy Heats. I could go for second Shieldred's Edict. I could go for... Yeah, the Spell Bomb can just draw a card, but I don't think it's doing literally anything else. Consigned could stop a Solitude Exile trigger, but I think that's fairly narrow. So I think it's down to either, do I want a Dreams of Steel and Oil, or do I want a second Shieldred's Edict? I think I'll go for the Edict. Just because Narset's so important. I will play first. That's a hand. I don't know if it's a better hand. Gosh, it looks bad, but like going down cards in a matchup where you're gonna have to grind through stuff, it just feels so terrible. And we'll hope we draw a blue source with this bauble. Okay, opponent's on a mulligan. Swamp, Cecil, bauble, yield through the turn. Alright, and we know about a Hallowed Fountain. Temporary lockdown, stock up, Thunder Trap Trainer. Do we go for the temp lockdown? I think we have to go for the temp lockdown. It's the answer to all of our stuff. So it says Thunder Trap's coming in. I got a Prismatic Ending, okay. So I can get my Raucous Theater here, so I have red mana. A Moonshadow, a Moonshadow. I have 2 more threats in my hand, so I think I actually want something different. I'm going to play the Trespasser because that way I'm not playing into a second temporary lockdown that I don't know about. If they want to use the Prismatic Ending on the Trespasser, that's fine because it costs them 2 cards. I could consider, when I attack with the Trespasser, hitting my own Moonshadow, just for an extra life. Drawing all these lands is kind of a bummer. So let's see. So I'm attacking for 5 right now. This attack can flip Cecil. So next turn, if I cast no spells, that would be... So I can attack for 5. It could be 6 this turn, put them to 8. And then, yeah, and so next turn that would be lethal if they don't have a... Oh, except for now it makes it so I don't flip my Cecil. Should have thought about that. Math is hard, everybody. Math is hard. I have nothing to do, so I'm just going to wait. Having the opposite problem of last game. Okay, and that's fine then that I didn't flip the Cecil. Okay, there's Narset. Finding something to make it so they can't protect this Narset with the Thunder Trap Trainer would be kind of cool. That counts. Wait, no, I want to tap differently. Red, blue. There we go. So I think I want to kill this and then so gosh, 5 cards I don't know about. So if I play the frog, I'm playing into something like a board wipe. But playing the frog is better into the face of this Teferi, because then they can't -3 and take me off of an attacker. Okay, second Narset. There's another stock up. What does the shock mean? What can they have for 2 mana? Oof, Orim's Chant. So in response, I'm going to cling to see if I did not find it. Dang it. Shouldn't I have... Oh no, I did cast a spell. Oh, the verdict is killer. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Land. Sorcery. I can get rid of this artifact. I can get rid of this land because it's probably the easiest. I can get rid of the Unholy Heat. Okay. Sheldur's Edict is, I guess, something. Bauble ourselves. We see the Street Wraith. Do we really want a Street Wraith? Ugh. I mean, it's a redraw, but not a great one. So, Time Raveler. Cast their stock up. So I have a choice here. Oh no, I don't have a choice. So I'm going to cling to dust. Guess I'll just grab that. Oh, I can't cling. So stupid. Sometimes we're dumb. The Teferi's in play. We're definitely on the ropes right now. One, two, three, four, five, six. Our opponent has 6 cards in hand. We're going to deploy 2 creatures. And hope we don't get too blown out. Well, there's one answer. Goodbye, frog. So does the evoking of this signal that they have Days Undoing? They can still have Days Undoing. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. That's enough for me. Alright, on the play this time. We'll give this one a shot. Fortunately, no black shock. But we'll be okay. Alright, have a steam vents, so I think we're going to use the Tarn. Grab the Watery Grave just because I play, so I'm going to hold the Bauble. The plan is next turn to play the second Moonshadow, play a Bauble, play a Polluted Delta. Okay. Well, change of plans then. We're going to deploy this frog. Always yield to that. Grove of the Burnwillows generally is going to suggest some sort of Eldrazi deck. Confirmation of some sort of Eldrazi deck. Okay, Fleshraker. I'd like to find a removal spell for that. That is not a removal spell. Well, so what we're going to do is we're just going to deploy 2 1-drops. Then we're going to attack. So I think since I have enough... Alright, I can do something. I'm just trying to put my opponent under enough pressure that, like, if they can't kill me this turn, then they die. Rumble seems to be a good start for me. A removal spell next turn will be huge. So we've got the ability to cycle the Street Wraith. But even just having 2 Moonshadows, if we can grow the Moonshadows just a little bit, we'll be close. Second Rumble. So our opponent has put in a Fleshraker and the Besieger that they played. Okay. Okay. Iteration's probably pretty good. So let's start by cycling the Street Wraith. So they can block 1 Moonshadow or the Nethergoyf. So they can block 1 creature. So I guess I want to leave up the Blood Crypt. Okay. They're convinced there. Well, we're bringing in the consigns. So this is most likely a brood scale build. So the dreams actually become pretty good. I could have some consideration for actually Pyroclasm, although I think the spot removal is probably good enough. I don't think their graveyard matters a ton. So I don't think the Clings are going to do us much good either. Since I still have to take out 2 more cards, I want to keep in the Detective's Phoenix because it's about speed. I think I can drop down the iterations because I need to be able to match their speed. Is there anything in here that I don't like and would rather have something different? Another card I'm considering is this Hurkyl's Recall, just because in like a turn that they're trying to go off, I could bounce it. But once again, I think that's kind of just small game and just you're trying to be too cute if you're doing that. So, like, I don't think the stubs are great, but maybe they're just good enough. And then looking, I don't know what else I would bring in if it's not the stubs. Once again, I've talked about Pyroclasms or the Hurkyl's Recall a touch, but I don't think that those are ultimately that fantastic, so... So upsides and downsides of this hand. I have plenty of interaction, so I believe I am going to keep this hand. So Devourer shows us something. So they get rid of a lab forest, so they don't need lands. That's what we've learned. They do not need lands, and we do know about the Devour in hand. Temple into nothing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Bauble. We're going to check ourselves. We don't see a land, so we are going to instead go for this Thoughtseize here. So I already know about the Devourer. So I have... So they can play a Broodscale next turn. And they have an Urza Saga, so that's something. So... Like I could take the Kozilek's command, I can then kill one Broodscale, consign the other. I can... So the Dreams of Steel and Oil can take either of these things. Kozilek's command just feels like their best card. Okay. It's again not another land. Need those lands. Okay. Broodscale. Land. We love it. We love the land. So let's just grab a Blood Crypt. We're going to say yes. We're going to kill this Broodscale. We are then going to take the other one. Two Broodscales gone. Okay, so I knew I took the Broodscale. So they play the Ancient Stirrings. Okay, okay. Promised End. Okay, so we need to keep track of things like types in Yard now. All right, so they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. They have one unknown card. These two cards are completely uncastable, so I think it is a turn to dig. Need to find our third land here. And of course we don't. That is unfortunate. Third land there would have been huge. Another Ancient Stirrings. So I might have to fire off the Dreams this next turn to stop the Devourer. Because if they draw a land, then... Okay, so we'll stop this. There's nothing else to do there. And then I'm just gonna pass and hold up a consign for the Kozilek's command, which is coming right now. Oh, no, okay, just a construct. That's fine. So one thing to remember so far is it's been a small sample size for number of lands, but already having 2 games where I'm just struggling to find another land is minorly frustrating and makes me want to be like, oh, well, I guess I got to play 20. And maybe, but then you start wondering, okay, what do you cut? Is the Detective's Phoenix then cute when you only have one? Is... So this attack here for 3 only... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's still 3 mana away from Emrakul. Wait, I think I didn't take away the Devour that I took. Yep. Okay. Touch a lag. Well, there's another land. I don't know what it's doing for me at the moment, but we gotta sit behind these consigns. Facing down double construct doesn't feel great, but I don't feel like I can take down the consign shield at the moment, which means I can't really cast this iteration until either they cast the Kozilek's command. Let's say they cast it during this turn, I can then consign it, which would then allow me to also kill one of these constructs, which would be nice. I'm not going to block. I just have to try to weasel my way out of this here. Another Urza's Saga. We still know 2 cards in hand. Brood Scale is fine. We are unfortunately also very close to a point where if they draw a land, I believe they can then cast the Emrakul, but they're going for the K command right now, and I have no option. So, okay. So they're just making Scions and Scry drawing. They're not getting rid of my Moonshadow. So I think I'm going to let this resolve, because then they're going to try to cast the Emrakul. I can sign the Emrakul and its trigger. I can kill one of these constructs. With my Unholy Heat. So a cool thing here is no matter what, they can take me off Delirium, but then by doing so, they get rid of their Soul Guide Lantern and drop their constructs down to 2s. So just a cool point there where... Oh, Cavern of Souls. Oh, it hurts so much. Oh, it really hurts. We are just going to make sure we replicate just to get this trigger. The Cavern is a bummer of a draw for us to have to face. We were in okay spots there until that happened. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to 3. So the question is, anything different? There is, I guess, something to be said about this spell bomb then, just because Emrakul was such a issue. Although, I mean, without the cavern, we would have been fine. So I can keep this one. I like having a non-fetch, black source on a Moonshadow hand, because then I can use the fetch to grow the Moonshadow on the next turn. Just a grove. I think we'll start off with a Thoughtseize, most likely. Okay, Brood Scale. Well, let's start here, actually. A little lag happening here. That's what that twirly-whirly guy means. Trying to cycle and pay 2 life. Trying to do it. We're trying here. There we go. The consign is nice, for sure. Let's see. Rumble, Rumble, Brood Scale. Is there any thought to... I'm going to take the Brood Scale because I can stub the first Rumble here. We'll go grab our steam vents this time. Just like putting our opponents behind here is good. We're going to hold up this consign for a turn. Okay. So here it's like our Moonshadow hit next turn anyway because of the Dismember. So if this iteration can find us another threat, then I think we're fine. We're in an okay spot. We really do need it to hit a threat, though. So we know exactly our opponent's hand. Rumble, Lab, Boseiju. Okay. So I'll put the Spellbomb in hand. Don't do any extra clicks. You don't want to move through this when the system's lagging. Just wait for it to catch up. Blood Crypt on the bottom. Frog. We'll do this. Alright, so hopefully all our opponent has to do this turn is just play a Rumble and put something in their hand. We can then hopefully start drawing cards with the Frog. So they choose the Promised End, play the Lab. They imprint the Promised End. That's interesting. So we can go discard, discard, then let's fly. So let's see, we can take out a creature, we can take out an instant, and we can take out a land. And then we'll go to combat. Let's see what we're going to draw. Okay. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 5 is 12, and they're drawing a temple. So we do have to get rid of their graveyard here. So we're going to do that. Alright, so the choice to bring in the Spell Bomb was good. Yes. Let's see. Perfect. Card on top. Okay. Do we play the Moonshadow? I think we play the Moonshadow just in case. My opponent said, "Nice miracle top deck, LOL." I don't know if they could have cast it because they imprinted the Emrakul, though. I'm trying to remember now if the lab was untapped. Wow. Like, so then the end still needed me to draw 5 consecutive lands to win. So pathetic. I don't get it. on the plate for the second time in a row, which is nice. Won't say no. Gosh. 2 Street Wraiths, Mire, Frog, Trespasser, Unholy Heat, Unholy Heat. This hand is mid. I feel like I don't want to rely on the Street Wraiths to make the hand good unless there's something that benefits from the Street Wraiths, so I'm going to mulligan. See, like, this hand is fine. Opponent is also on a mulligan. We're putting back the island. Marsh Flats, Plains, Ocelot Pride, okay. Marsh Flats doesn't mean that it's not just straight up Boros energy here, but obviously it could be some sort of we're going to double block because this signals right here some sort of removal spell. So here I'm just trading a Nethergoy for Ocelot Pride plus. All right, that was good. Well, still, I still traded another Nethergoy for Ocelot Pride and another card. So, normally I advocate that you don't just cast all your stuff before combat, but when your opponent's tapped out, you just don't. You can just play and then you can pass through the turn and you're good. Another Ocelot Pride. Yep. Not sure what our opponent could do here. They would have to have a second land in some way to... Okay. I think this might be a case of everybody kind of forgets that the Moonshadow has Menace. Okay, Boros. I like the Dreams of Steel and Oil. I like the Spell Bomb. I like the Pyroclasms. I like the other Trespasser. I'm fine with getting rid of the Denials and the Thought Seizes. Do we want to do anything different? Like, I don't think I really need the Detective's Phoenix. I don't love the Detective's Phoenix in the matchup. The Street Wraiths are fine. I could see going like Detective's Street Wraith, and we're just gonna go for just like max removal. I think that's what I'll do. Oh, forgot to do this. Sorry, I've been playing a whole game with the wrong record up. Fixed it. Oops. Except for I also spelled menace wrong. I said man-ass. Not ASS, but MANACE. I don't know if, depending on the size of the screen you're watching, you probably can't read the chat very well. It's kind of small. All right. So I like the Unholy Heat. I like Moonshadows plus Baubles, so we'll just keep. Well, let's see. We have options. We could... I'm just gonna kill the Ocelot Pride. I'm not gonna play any sort of shenanigan games here. Opponent might like discharge here. Okay, no. So that's a good sign for me. Guide of Souls into the bin. Wow. When you see like a really good card like that get surveilled, you always wonder. Okay. So they'll kill one. We do need to find... Yeah, unfortunately, they do still get... Oh, for Wrath. That's okay. They can't Wrath me without Wrathing themselves. Well, that's going to be a saving grace. Take the Witch Enchanter, take the Flage. And then I think I'm just gonna keep the Moonshadow back so that they can't keep on gaining more kitties. I don't want to play out another creature. Oh. So what did we hit? He hit Voice of Victory, Bombardment, Guide of Souls. That's a good 3 cards to hit. Wow. That is a good 3 cards. Okay. Oh. So we've got Voice of Victory, Bombardment, Guide of Souls coming. Do I now do something like play out the Cecil in hopes to I'm thinking like, do I want to play the Cecil to entice this Wrath of the Skies? And I don't think so. I think you should have played the Bombardment first. So they can sacrifice their 3 tokens to kill my Moonshadow. Oof. Huh. I mean, I guess Voice of Victory taxes a 3/3 every turn, but like I'd be interested here. You would have gotten a 3rd energy at this point with Guide of Souls. You could have made Roku into a flyer. Oof. Yeah, this whole like bombardment into all this stuff is really hurting. It really hurts. Makes me go ouchie. Well, we have a redraw. Sorry, Roku. We love you. So I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minimum next turn. I don't know what I can draw at this point to get me out of this. A lot of times for Boros, once they establish Bombardment Plus, It's really tough for you to come back from that, especially seeing that like I was just never able to hit my opponent at all. Um, which makes me wonder if there's maybe something to consider of boarding back into a way where you can be a little bit faster. Like, one of the things in a matchup where you're trying to grind against each other that you do have to consider is your opponent's deck better in the long game than yours? So you should at least sacrifice these two warriors. Yep. Opponent's on top of it. Like I said, I don't know what I can actually draw here to get myself out of this. Oh, nice. I see what they're doing. They get the Pyromancer tokens back out, and then they have lethal without ever having to go back to the next turn. Um, I could think to bring in like a couple of Stubborn Denials, or maybe just one for one of these Street Wraiths. We'll try that. We'll try that. Being on the play will be huge. Not drawing too many lands will be huge. Like, you really just do want to be able to kill so many things against Boros. Can't keep that. Lands are necessary. Man, these Ocelot Prides are... Okay. Oof. Johnny's a good card. do have to find a way to beat this Johnny. Fortunately, we've gone through both of our surveil lands already. So we know Purge Plains, one unknown. So the first frog we play is going to eat the Purge. So I think we just play both frogs then. We don't block that. We don't want them just to continue. Oh, second of Johnny. Second of Johnny. No. Yeah, that's the smart move. Okay, Nethergoyf isn't terrible. We've got the Cling to Dust. I think here... I do want to draw a card. Not that card. We are gonna have to fly this frog. So we'll use this land to do it. Let's see. Get rid of a land. We can get rid of a creature and a sorcery. Question here is, what is... Well, we do need to hit the Ajani. Man. Okay. Oof. Nothing I can do about that, so... Right. I want to see what they've got going on. Bombardment, huh? Jeez. Let's... Nethergoyf. So we have to get rid of a land, an artifact, a sorcery, and an instant. Still a 5/6 at least. We've got the cling to dust already for the yep. For the flage, so that's okay. Okay. So like what they might do is hit the Nethergoyf for 2 and then attack in with the 4/3. Okay, no, they're just hitting me. Is that better? Do I use the frog to kill the Ajani? Or do I unholy heat it? Start here. I think I'd rather have the unholy heat as a resource. Land, land, instant. I think I have to start getting aggressive here. All right. A dead draw from our opponent would be fantastic. So right now we're kind of at 3 life. So like a flage is lethal here. Thraben Charm to I think it would have been way better to get rid of our graveyard because then the flage is much closer to Gosh, do I not do that yet? Well, I certainly am not going to jump the frog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I do think I just want to get out of any sort of shenanigan range right now. Let's see. Actually, no, hold on. Yeah, let's go to combat. Let's attack first. Because our opponent is forced to block here. It's better to attack. Wait, no. Cling to dust. Target the flage. Let's take out 2 lands. Sorcery. So I get to leave 1? Well, so let's just leave artifact. All right. Ranger Captain isn't bad. Is not bad at all. You can get a 1-drop. So what do? Get an Ocelot Pride? Okay, yep. Whew! All right. Got there in that one. All right, match 4. Back to the draw. Guess we can't ask for much different after being on the play 2 matches in a row. Cecil, Frog, Iteration, Bauble. We see a new Mori, which I think the only Umori deck is a all sorceries, so I guess I'll keep this hand. Well, the rest only has 2 hits. Yep, so all sorceries. I do not know what the win con of this deck is, exactly how it tries to win, so we'll have to see. So the hope is you don't really draw your so this is 4 mana, and it reduces. Okay. Well, let's attack first. We're not going to be able to flip the Cecil, so we're just going to get the frog going now. See another duress. It's honestly not the worst. So is this going to be like coffers, I'm guessing? With the Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, my guess is that there's somehow a Cabal Coffers element to this. So we see a Dark Petition. I'd love to draw a Thoughtseize or a Stubborn Denial. Do they play some sort of board wipe? I have no clue. My hope is that I can just kind of put on enough pressure here. Wow. I don't think any of these have anything like flashback or... Yeah, okay. So we'll just take out the Dark Petition, I think. Okay, so just another land, so here comes the Umori into hand. Okay. Let's see, we can get rid of a land. We can get rid of a creature, an artifact, and a sorcery, and retain all of our types. This doesn't have Death Touch or anything, alright. Having a Stubborn Denial, I think, is pretty big. So right now, though, if they play the Umori next turn, I do not win the race. So Umori's a 4-5, I've got a 5-6. So they play Umori, I attack with Nethergrave. If they're down to 8, they attack me down to 4. I attack them down to 3, they attack me down to 0. So I do need something. I guess I have the Cling to Dust. That's something because it will allow me to block. So remember, they do have this Gaze of Granite. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure what might be in their hand. Well, unfortunately, Inquisition is a very good draw here. There's a Damnation. So I could use the Cling to Dust, but I want to just be able to get the Nethergoyf back. So I can get rid of a creature, a land, instant, and unfortunately I think that's the last thing I have doubled up. I do have to get rid of 4 types, so I guess the best one to get rid of is a sorcery. I mean, so I guess the opponent drew the Damnation. So there's the Cabal Coffers. We're just going to do this just because we're trying to increase our chances of a good draw. That might qualify. So I think because I've seen so many like board wipes already, I've seen 2 different kinds of board wipes from them, that I'm going to just hold the frog. Okay, so they just didn't find an answer. So we still don't know exactly what they're doing, but creatures and artifacts, that's no good. We do want the Stubborn Denial 100%. Is Fatal Push or Unholy Heat going to be better? I think I'll take the Fatal Pushes. So we can bring in the Trespasser. I guess we can bring in the Spell Bomb. Is there anything that Consign would be good against? I was trying to think of like one more card that might be okay, but like the Meltdowns, the Pyroclasms, the Unholy Heats are all bad. The Dreams of Steel and Oil hit. Creatures and artifacts. They only have 1 creature. Recall's Recall also hits artifacts. They're an all sorcery deck. I'm not sure there's going to be any triggered ability, so I guess I'll just bring in a Shieldred's Edict as one other way to kill the Umori. And that's about all I've got. I mean, luckily between Thoughtseize and Stubborn Denial, I already have some decent pieces. Oh, they're 73? Or 66 now? I should have paid attention to the number they had originally. Unfortunately, I need to be able to be faster than that. We can keep this hand. I guess we just put back... Now we have to put back the mountain because the mountain doesn't cast the frog. Well, I've got 3 threats and a bauble. Have fun. Pick one. So if they take the Cecil, that allows me to just play the Undercity Sewer on turn 1, set up my mana. So they take the frog. I guess I could have not fetched, potentially, but with Cecil, you kind of do want to fetch, so... I'm going to hold on to the bauble for 1 turn, maybe. Surveil, too, that's what it does. Profane Tutor, okay. Do I want this frog? I will leave it on top. I mean, this is good so far. I just need to keep on drawing threats. So there's always the interesting back and forth of playing against a deck that plays board wipes, because you don't want to overextend into them, but by doing so, by like slowly playing out your threats, you kind of give your opponent the time that they're hoping for. So the threat of a board wipe certainly changes things a little bit. So I can flip the Cecil with this by fetching and shocking. I guess I could have fetched shock and played the Detective's Phoenix. Maybe that's what I wanted to do. So one thing I can do here with this setup now is if, like, let's say they damnation me, I can actually haste the frog. I can play the Psychic Frog and then bestow the Phoenix. So it kind of forces them to have 2 board wipes. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers mana. Okay, well, exiling doesn't do it. Let's go. I want to go black, blue. They were going to take the frogs. I might as well discard the frog. Then once there's only 1 card left, they're going to take it. So I might as well get some value out of it, which is why I discarded both cards. I mean, best case scenario for me here is they just put the Umori into hand. Oh, gosh. All right. We got to draw something now. That's not something. So they're looking at 10 cards here. They get to pick one. Which one was this? 3. Okay, yep. There we go. Okay, so that's the win con, is Torment of Hailfire. Once again, I don't see anything that any of these other cards would do, so... So we definitely want to be able to get onto the battlefield fast. This should be able to do it. They keep on changing the number of cards that they have in their deck. Grows my Moonshadow. That is not going to be something that grows the Moonshadow, unfortunately. The hope now is that I can just draw some cards from here on out. Protect this Moonshadow. And maybe get a win. So I've got a 2-turn clock right now. Moonshadow is currently a 5/5. I have a fetch in hand that will make it a 6/6, so I can attack them down for 5 and then attack again. Pillage is fine. Is it like they've been digging for a removal spell? Jeez. Alright, fingers crossed they don't have another one. Oh. Come on. We're so close. If we could draw just anything besides lands would be utterly fantastic. So let's take out everything that's cheap. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 of 19 so far have been lands. It's not a winning ratio, and it's really unfortunate because if we had just like drawn another threat, we'd be at a point where maybe we could have already won this game if we just had like one more thing that could hit the field. They had to dig 2 turns in a row. I know it's not technically over, but well, at least they also don't have anything, except for they have a 4/5 on the battlefield, and I have nothing. Like, best draw here is like Street Wraith into a creature so we can haste it. Actually, I want to yield until the end step. Well, they just get Torment, right? And I'm dead. This is 5 times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless the player sacrifices a non-land permanent of their choice. Or discards a card, so I take 3 damage 4 times. That one was really frustrating. Alright, on the play this time, we are going to draw not quite so many lands in a deciding game that we could win. We can keep this hand. I'm deciding to fetch here since Cecil is my threat. I can get closer to flipping it potentially. Okay. Oh, you idiot, Alan. Moving too fast. Alright, gotta slow down. Gotta slow down. I wanted to play the frog. Okay. Mortuary, Overgrown Tomb. So my guess is this is Yawgmoth. So all these other cards up here are ones that I'm considering. Okay, so I have a black-blue land, so I want to get a Blood Crypt. Well, so I've got some choices here. Well, no matter what, this is my land, so we'll start there. Bennett or the Moonshadow. Even though I don't have the ability to get something out of the yard, doing something like grabbing that cauldron is pretty big. So they will be playing the Dredger's Insight next turn. Yeah, the halfling makes sense. This makes it a one-turn clock now with the Moonshadow. So the goal here is one, prevent losing. And two, so we know that one other card is a halfling. So I don't see a win in those cards there. Badger Mole Cub we can handle. So let's push the Badger Mole. Oops. I have to tap the right color of mana. If they had, I guess it doesn't matter either way. Okay. All right, game 3. Anything different? I had the thought there that maybe I do actually potentially want the Detective's Phoenix, because it allows me to go over the top. So I think I do want to bring that in. I can exchange that for the Pyroclasm. And I think being on the draw, I want one more of these Thought Seizes. God, Consign feels really bad, but it is kind of just like technically an out. Double Moonshadow, multiple removal spells, all good. Not me going first. So, being somebody that does play this deck, being Yawgmoth, I know that I just want to keep as much stuff off of their board as possible. Yawgmoth wins even out of nowhere by being able to just have a bunch of resources. Especially since they didn't make a second land drop. Ouch, that's a rough one. So I think we're going to go for a rather So luckily they can't have like a full win here, because my guess is you take the Mortuary? Yeah. That's a really good draw for me. So I want to get this Cauldron out of there. All right. All right, so debrief, thoughts, and ideas. I'll move the Spellbomb over so you can see it, just so you can tell you're not missing any other sideboard cards. That's it. So some thoughts. Moonshadow is extremely powerful. I felt like every single time my best draws were my Moonshadow draws, and especially we saw that last game there, they're insane in multiples. I think the big key to this card is that it has Menace. And so it just makes it extremely difficult to block early, so you can attack a lot. So it does want you to kind of be putting your foot down. So all of that stuff, the baubles, the Moonshadows, the Street Wraiths, all felt good. I thought the Frog proved its worth in that, was it the Boros matchup, I think? I think it was the Boros matchup, where we were just able just to keep on going. I've been working on testing out the difference between Dragon's Rage Channeler and Psychic Frog in this deck, and I think after playing both a little bit and just in some playtesting matches in the, playtesting room here on MTGO, while DRC allows for the extremely fast starts, I think I like Psychic Frog better overall. It still does the same thing that DRC does and enables your Moonshadows better. And to that point, also Nethergoyfs and stuff. But, then has the upside of you draw Psychic Frog and it's your only card left, and you're both top decking. Your opponent has one draw that can't answer the frog, and all of a sudden you churn back into the game. I still like expressive iteration. I'm definitely more willing to board it out in matchups than I used to be. But in matchups where where Frog is good, iteration's also good. So you kind of want these cards, and then you can cut down on iterations on matchups where you just need to be fast. So I liked that. I thought Nethergoyf was good. Um, all these other cards. I felt like it never. I guess I saw the Cling to Dust in like one game that we lost against the Umori deck. That one still stings a little bit just because I feel like if we had drawn just a touch better, I think we counted what out of 19 cards we had 12 lands or something like that, or I don't remember the exact number now. Um, but so that number felt rather skewed in the unfortunate direction, and that's going to happen in a variance game, and you do have to tell yourself that when you lose games like that. But I felt like this was close. So that matchup was close. The other matchup we lost was the first match. What was the first match? For all of you, it was at most, a little over an hour ago, and for me, it was a day ago. I'm just trying to remember if we felt like we were close in all of them or not. At least 4 out of the 5, because I just have a blank spot in my memory for the whatever we played first. Like felt like we were close and had options, and that's what I like in a deck. I like a deck that feels like you've got some viability no matter where no matter the matchup. Some might be harder, some might be easier, but you get there. Oh, it was blue white control. Um, yeah, I think for a deck like this, control can either. I feel like the control matchup either feels like you are completely outclassed and you have no chance, or that it's a cakewalk. And I think it's just because of the way draws line up. If you're not fast, or if they are able to just kind of pull answers over and over again, they'll eventually just find their stuff. And the control decks these days are really good at, once they're ready to find their win, they're really good at digging for them because, as we saw, we've got stuff like Narset and Stock Up and all that sort of stuff. But if you can just kind of disrupt them as you go, they're like, oh, well, feels awful. Things that I'm a little unsure about. I liked the Dreams of Steel and Oil in the sideboard. I felt like it was actually really good and really useful. Every time we brought it in, I felt like it was like, yeah, I want to see this card. The fact that it is able to hit Flage out of the yard after they've cast it, I think is phenomenal. Um, I felt like the Cecil was so at best. I don't think I want only 12 threats though, so I want more than Moonshadow, Netherglyph, and Psychic Frog, because you want to be able to consistently apply pressure. So I like having another threat, but we never flipped the Cecil at a point where it was relevant. And it just doesn't feel fantastic. I wonder if Cecil's actually a card that gets better as you have more of them, because the first one sets up the second one. So the first one gets a hit or two in, loses you a little bit of life, gets you closer to that 10. They kill it, you play the second one, and if they don't have an answer, then you flip that one. So I didn't feel like the Cecil was fantastic. And we never had the Detective's Phoenix in a useful spot. I will say that in that Umori matchup, we were kind of at the point where if we just drew any creature, the Detective's Phoenix might have meant a win. So I think I'm more likely to keep the Phoenix in and give it a try again. I felt like the Trespassers were fine, but I don't know what else you might want to do. So, like, originally I had 2 Cecils, so do we try to go back to just 2 Cecils, and do I test the theory of the first Cecil sets up the second one? Or do I just go to a little bit bigger, grindier version and actually bring in this Trespasser from the yard, cut the Cecil entirely, and make that your main deck? And then what that does is that opens up another sideboard slot. I'm not exactly sure what I felt like I might want. The Nihil Spellbomb is medium. I threw it in there because honestly I didn't really know what else I might want. I don't think you have quite enough black sources for, so you're at 16 black sources here for something like Break the Ice. And also, I don't think the matchups where you want Break the Ice. Break the Ice is a card that works great when you have like 4 of them, and so you're going to destroy 2 lands in a matchup. Break the Ice is a lot better against like actual Tron lands than the like current lands that like than Eldrazi Temple and Ugin's Lab generally. So I don't feel like Break the Ice is the answer. So yeah, I don't know. So, something to touch on a little bit is going slightly bigger, a little bit better. You've got your 8 1-mana threats, then your frogs, and then your trespassers to kind of round things out. That gives you 14 threats. The Detective's Phoenix is kind of like a half a threat. Yeah, not sure. A couple of small tweaks. I feel like I really liked 72 of the 75 cards in the list. So we'll keep running it there. Glad to get the positive record this time. That does feel good. Feel like there's you know, something here. This is a good fun kind of deck if you enjoy this sort of play style. I'll stop rambling from here. Thanks for watching. You know, like the video, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. You know, let me know if you got ideas for maybe some other things I could try in those couple of slots that I mentioned that you think might be good. Otherwise, be on the lookout for more videos coming in the future. Till next time, we'll see you.